Today on our 2017 Toyota Prius V, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the CURT Class 1 custom fit trailer hitch receiver. So here's what our hitch is going to look like once we have it installed. You're going to see the cross tube. It's going to sit right below the bumper, but it is kind of sit back at an angle, so the main thing we're going to see is the receiver tube right here. Now it is a Class 1 hitch, which means it's going to give us an 1¼ inch by 1¼ inch receiver tube opening. It's going to be great for bike racks and some smaller cargo carriers. Now, the way we're going to mount any of our accessories to our hitch, it's going to be through the hitch pin hole here on the side. It's going to accept a standard 1/2-inch pin and clip. Now these are not included in the kit, but you can pick them up here at eTrailer.com, along with some locking devices to make sure your accessories are secure. If you're going to be doing any light-duty towing, keep in mind that there is a specific drawbar made for our hitch, and you can find it here at eTrailer.com. You'll notice that the safety chain connection points are going to be a plate style welded to the bottom of the receiver tube. And you can see we'll have plenty of room to get most size hooks on and off, but if you do have some really small hooks, just keep in mind that you may have some trouble getting it over that flange on the side. Now, regardless of what you're going to be using your hitch for, the capacity is going to be an important thing. Our hitch is going to have a 200-pound tongue weight. That's going to be the maximum downward force at the end of the receiver tube. It's also going to have a 2,000-pound gross trailer weight rating. That's how much our hitch can pull, including the trailer and everything we have loaded on it. With all those numbers in mind, you always want to double check your Prius's owner's manual because you don't want to exceed the manufacturer's recommended weight. Now, CURT does recommend using a safety strap when carrying any non-trailer loads, such as a bike rack or a cargo carrier. I'd like to give you a few measurements, and these are going to help you out whenever you're looking for accessories for your new hitch, like a bike rack or even a cargo carrier. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the outermost edge of the bumper, it's right about 4½ inches. The measurement is going to come in handy when you're looking at folding accessories to make sure you have enough room and that they're not going to come in contact with the rear bumper. From the ground to the inside top edge of the receiver tube opening, it's going to be right about 12¾ inches. At that height, I would definitely recommend a bike rack or a cargo carrier with a raised shank. That way we can get a little bit more ground clearance out of it. But now that we've seen what our hitch looks like and gone over some of the features, let's show you how to get it installed. To start out, we're going to come to the back of our Prius and we're going to move to the outside on the driver's side, right on the frame rail. We'll find our factory tie-down hook here, and if we look up on the bottom of the frame, we're going to find 2 bolts that are holding it in place. We need to pull those out, so we can grab a 17mm socket and remove the 2 bolts. And once we have the tie-down hook removed and the bolts, we can set it aside and it's not going to get reinstalled. Now if we move over to the passenger side where our exhaust is, and we follow the muffler going forward, right by the rear suspension, we'll find a muffler hanger. We're going to remove that rubber isolator so our exhaust can hang down a little bit. So I'm going to take a little bit of spray lubricant, I'm going to spray down the hanger, make it a little bit easier to slide it off. I'm going to take a pry bar and I'm just going to pry on that isolator until it slides off the hanger. We're going to have one more if we move towards the back. Another one right here. So again, just going to spray the hanger down and then use a pry bar to slide it off. Now if we look straight up right at that isolator, it's going to have a bracket attached to it with 2 bolts. It's still going to use that 17mm socket, and we're going to pull that whole bracket out. Except this time we are going to hold on to the bracket and the rubber isolator. So the 2 weld nuts on the bottom of the frame on each side, where we remove the tie-down bracket, and the exhaust hanger bracket on the other side is going to be where we mount our hitch up. We're going to get new bolts in our kit, along with some new washers. Now you notice there's going to be teeth on there. You want those to be facing up towards the frame. But we'll lift our hitch up, go through the hitch, and then we're going to secure it using the new hardware. Now on the passenger side, we're still going to have those 2 bolts, but we're going to take our hardware, the bolt and the washer, we're going to go through our exhaust hanger bracket, and then sandwich our hitch in between it and the frame. Now with an extra set of hands, we're going to lift our hitch up, line it up with the weld nuts in the frame. Then I'll take my bolt and my bracket. You're going to want to get at least one bolt in on each side. That way the hitch will support itself. We don't have to worry about it falling down. I'm going to come back with a 19mm socket. You can also use a 3/4 inch socket to snug up all your hardware. You want to come back with a torque wrench and torque all your hardware down to the specified amount in the instructions. You want to make sure you repeat that for any remaining hardware. We can lift our exhaust back up. I'm going to spray a little bit more lubricant on the hanger and the isolator. Just make it a little bit easier to slide back into place. With our exhaust back in place and our hitch torqued down, that'll finish up our install and we're ready to hit the road. That'll finish up your look at the CURT Class 1 custom fit trailer hitch receiver on our 2017 Toyota Prius V.